Together with Earle Sports Bets, yeah, the twins, they be checking in. Stacking up, green is the scene that you're stepping in. Winning is a trend, and we stay making dollars. Nerd talk with the sports bet scholars. Yeah, it's R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies.
We are live. Welcome back to another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. My name is Nicholas Earle, and just me today, as we have, I believe, 7 games in the NBA, and we have 12 games in the NHL. I've already moved on 3 NHL games, so we will get into those in a little bit. But before we do that, quick recap of yesterday. Wasn't a huge card for me. I had 3 plays in the NBA, 1 in the NHL. I was stupid in the NHL. I should have just taken the plus 2.5 like I wanted to. Instead, I got cute and I took a plus 3.5 and the team total over 1.5 for a same game parlay, which I always advocate not to do. And that proves why you don't do parlays, because the plus 2.5 would have won, and the Sharks only score 1 goal, and they do not, but they do cover the plus 3.5. So, frustrating there. But swept the board in the NBA. That was fun last night. The Nuggets team total over 124.5. Never in doubt. Hit 125 points there. That was nice. Washington plus 3.5. How about they win outright against the Brooklyn Nets? That was really fun to see there. And then the Hawks plus 102 in the NBA. Completed the 3-game sweep there. So nice NBA day. Frustrating that I played it the wrong way and I ended up losing because of it. In that hockey game, I think I found the only way to back the Sharks and not win. So that was fun. But overall, profitable day, so I can't complain too much. We'll head over to the chat. And we will get into today's card. Raptors money line coming in with a bang. Well, why not? The good old fate of the Boston Celtics. Look at those Wizards, right? Sadly, Westbrook didn't get his point, so 1-1, up 0.1 units. Start with hockey. Not going to switch up the order. It's always NBA first, then hockey last. It's just the way we do it. Morning, Isaacs. You're an idiot for Raptors money line. There you go. Good morning, Nick. Where is Town today? Tim is working. Sharks almost won that game. They almost did. They went to overtime there. Cash Joker, 16 assists. He had 19, and Tim said that's all. It is a lot of assists, though. It is a lot of assists. It's not like it's a daily stroll at the park. Like that's still a big number, but he's just that good. What is this? It is the Earle Sports Bet Show. They ran out of gas completely at the end there. Yeah. There we go. All right. Well, we can start with Raptors money line. I doubt I will be on the Raptors money line, but with that being said, we have the Celtics. They're 11-point road favorites, total 226 in this game. Taking a look, the Celtics have been really strong as of late. They've won 5 in a row and 5-0 ATS in those games. These 2 teams played just a little over a month ago. That's right. The Raptors won that game outright. Line opened up at a 9. It's now at 11. So we do have a move towards the Boston Celtics. Line opened up 226.5. It's down to 226. So we'll move towards the under there as well. I think we're finally starting to see the Celtics click into that form. Yeah, I say that they're 41-16, but they have not been a good covering team this year. For a team that's 41-16, being 25-31-1 ATS, not particularly great. Taking a look at the cash flow in this game, if it'll load, that'll be cool. NBA, please. Now it's asking me to sign in. Cool. because I'd like to know the cash flow in this game, because I'm kind of interested in the Celtics in this game. With these two teams playing not too long ago, and the Raptors winning outright. That was a little over a month ago, but still, the Celtics have won 5 in a row, 9 of their last 10. The Raptors are coming off of a pretty dominant win there. They were 2.5-point underdogs against the Phoenix Suns, and they win 127-109. So, unable to log in. You have me. Okay. Can you let me log in, please? Did I do it through a different email? Is it this email? And I just clicked the wrong one. What the hell? Unable to log in. You have already registered through Action Network on a different source. What are they talking about? Please just load the right way. I love how Action Network's just being stupid right now. Please let me log in. Well, I'm trying to figure this out. Why is this being stupid right now? What do you want me to log in with? I've been logging in with the same email that I've been using the entire time. All right, so I don't know if I'll have Action Network today because it's being stupid. But it's Celtics or no bet right now. I just want to get the numbers for this game. But right now it's Celtics or no bet. Just be nice if it allowed me to log in here with Action Network. Is it this one? We'll head over to the chat here. Did it work? I believe so. Choose an account. That one? All right. Z-Nick, any thoughts on the Houston Rockets today? We'll be getting into their game in a little bit against Milwaukee. Yeah, I know. Pass. Yeah. I'm definitely interested in Boston. I just don't want to sign in, or I don't want to place a bet on them and then see that they're wildly public. But why is Action Network not working for me? Please work. Sorry that this show has just been me getting frustrated at Action Network. That won't work. This would have been a great time to have somebody else on stream so I can figure this out and not be holding up the show because I can't get the numbers I need. But yeah. It would be Celtics or no bet for me. But just a lean for the lean on that game for the moment until I can get everything figured out in this one, because it's being stupid. Anyways, I guess we'll move on to the next game. And go from there. This is just, I just need this to work. I don't remember which email it is. Unable to log in. You have already registered through Action Network or a different source. Then let me log in. I don't get this right now. I've never had this problem before. It might be your internet. No, it's not, because I'm able to run the show. If it was the internet, I wouldn't be able to get on this site at all. I could see the free data. I can't see I can't log in with the account I pay for. That's the issue I'm running into right now. Okay. I don't get this right now. So we'll move on. Cleveland Cavaliers and the Milwaukee Bucks. We have the Cavs -7, total 222.5. Taking a look at the line history in this one, where we have line open up at a 6.5. It's now a 7. So we have a move towards the Cleveland Cavaliers. Line open up 225.5. It's now down to a 222.5. And let's take a look at what these two teams have done as of late, where we have a Cleveland Cavaliers team that's playing well right now. And they're coming in on a 7-game winning streak. Their last loss was to the Celtics there on February the 4th. So it's been over 20 days since their last loss. On the flip side, we have the Orlando Magic. They're coming in off of a winning cover in their last game. We were on them in that game there. They struggled in the first half and then ran away with it in that 20-point win against the Washington Wizards. And I mean, looking at this game, yeah, we have a move towards Cleveland. According to another site I'm looking at, I'm seeing 76% of tickets, 78% of the cash is on Cleveland. So there's that. According to a different site, not Action Network, so I don't know how much to rely on it. And we and moving towards it, on the total in this game. I mean, I would lean Cleveland to get the job done here in this spot. It's just a lean at the moment, though. It feels a little too public. If we're looking at it from that angle, but I do kind of with Cleveland. They've been covering as of late. And this Orlando Magic team has been tough to trust, but they have won now 3 of their last 4 games, and they've covered in 4 straight. So this is an Orlando team that's kind of turning it around a little bit here. They're currently 1 game under 500, but they're in the 7th seed for the Eastern Conference. So obviously, when you're playing in the Eastern Conference, you have a lot more leeway when it comes to that. So I guess it's a lean towards the Cavaliers, but not getting involved here. What's good, Real Deal Prime? Ducks money line is a bullseye bet. I've already moved on Sabres -1, but yeah. Cavs money line for a parlay piece is nice. I could see that. We'll continue on, though. Phoenix Suns, Memphis Grizzlies. We have the Grizzlies 8-point favorites, total 245.5. Taking a look at the line history. And this game there we go. There we go. Memphis. There we go. Line opened up Memphis -7.5. It opened up 6.5, but then 2 minutes later it was 7.5. So it opened up 7.5. It's now an 8. So we do have a move towards Memphis here. Line opened up 245.5, still 245.5. According to this one site, 67% of tickets and 75% of the cash is on Memphis, and the line is moving towards them, at least for those who want to back them. And I kind of do lean towards Memphis in this spot. And just because Phoenix is kind of bet against him at the moment. And then as for the total in this game, I'm seeing actually a decent amount of money on the under, but I don't know how accurate that really is. And the line really not moving. Phoenix is coming in on a loss in their last game. They've lost now 8 of their last 10 games. They've not covered in 8 of their last 10 games. Memphis, they're coming in off of a loss in their last game against Cleveland. It's their first game back after a 5-game road trip. So kind of a tough little situation, but they have a homestand coming up here. And maybe this is one of those where they're happy to be home. They went 2-3 on that road trip. However, only the last 3 games were after the All-Star break. They lost to Indiana. They barely squeaked out a win against Orlando, and they beat Cleveland. They lost to Cleveland in that game. They look to be healthy. Memphis here. Be Memphis or no bet here for me. I know Coyote was saying that Cleveland's an interesting parlay piece. Maybe you throw Cleveland and Memphis together. That's worth a look. But I don't know how juicy that would be for a 2-teamer. But that would be my lean. It would be Memphis or no bet here. Memphis or no bet. Let's see. Sabres are too expensive. I could see that. I got -122 for the -1 line. We'll talk about it. Is he delayed for anyone else? I don't know. Something is saying magic but no play. Like the talking is in sync. Lagging, yeah, probably a little bit. Yeah, stream is buffering. Very annoying. Frozen. I thought my Wi-Fi was bugging. Okay, cool. It's good now. Awesome. Under 245. I can see that. I'm on Memphis first half, -6 alt spread. All right. Yeah, I would lean that way. I would definitely lean that way. But we'll move on. Houston Rockets taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. The Rockets, 3.5-point favorites, total 226 in this game. Let's take a look at the line history in this one here. It opened up at a 3. It's up to a 3.5 now for Houston. Line opened up 226.5. It's now 227. So we have a move towards the over here as well. Taking a look at the cash flow, the one side I'm looking at here has 54% tickets and 88% of cash on Milwaukee. At this line's moving slightly towards Houston, and it shows more money on the under here in this one with the line going up. Kind of leads me towards an over a little bit in this game. Milwaukee coming in on a 4-game winning streak. They're playing better as of late. Houston, they're coming in off of a bad loss. That's a really bad loss in their last game. 9-point losses, 7.5-point favorites against the Utah Jazz. I kind of think they bounce back after that. But the question is 3.5, just too many points. And I'm kind of going on a limb saying no. I think that this is a game where you have a Milwaukee team playing really well right now. But they get Denver on deck. The Bucks. And I mean, you have a 4-game winning streak for them. And you have a Rocket team that's kind of been struggling as of late. And it's a 3.5. It's over a bucket. It feels a little too easy to take the points with Milwaukee in this game. I'm actually interested in the bounce back spot here for the Houston Rockets coming in off of an embarrassing loss against the Utah Jazz. So I'm going to look towards the Rockets here on the 3.5 in this spot. And probably go with that here once I can get my bet stamp to load to see where the best available line is. I'm probably going to be moving on the Houston Rockets here. Here we go. And it looks like I can get -3.5 over a -110 over on Fanatics. Sign me up. I'll get my day started here. Houston Rockets -3.5 in this game. Let's see. It would be -130 on DK. What would? I like it. Oh, the parlay. Yep. White Sox money line. Yeah, why not? Supness. What's good, Lex? What's good? Rockets money line, Cavs money line parlay +120. There you go. It's worth a look. We'll continue on. The New Orleans Pelicans taking on the San Antonio Spurs. What a matchup this is. Unfortunately, it's because of the injuries that really affected this game here. This is why the Pelicans are favored in this spot. This line opened up at a 2.5, though. It's now, or opened up at a 3. It's now down to a 2.5. So we do have a move towards these Spurs in this game. Line opened up at a 239. It's still a 239. The cash flow on this site says 50%. I think it's 57% of cash is on the Pelicans. This one line slightly moved towards the Spurs in this game here. And then we're seeing more money on the under. A lot. This site, I don't trust this site with totals because most of the time the big money is on the overs, and it's saying like all the unders are getting pounded. I don't believe that one bit. These two teams just played, actually. It was a 114-96 win for the New Orleans Pelicans. I was on the Pelicans in that game. I unfortunately doubled up and split out on that game with Pelicans money line and team total over. Now it's time to flip the script. And I'll go ahead. Let's see. Can I get a 3 with San Antonio here in this one? That's the ultimate question for me here in this spot. You have short-term revenge, changing venues. New Orleans. No, my bad. Not changing venues because it was in New Orleans last game. Now it's still in New Orleans this game. You're giving me +3 in this spot, -110 over on Fanatics. Sign me up. I'm going to take the Spurs in this game. Quick little bounce back, short-term revenge game for San Antonio. So +3 here at -110. DK is a 3. For the Spurs, yeah. I was able to get 3 -110 on Fanatics. It's 3 -112 on DraftKings according to BetStamp. And I use that before I go into any of my books to bet anything. And it's always nice to have books to shop around for there. But we'll continue on here as we have the Los Angeles Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks. Lakers -9, total of 232.5. Slot opened up at an 8.5. Within a few minutes, it went up to a 10, back down to a 9, and then it kind of stayed there. Line opened up at a 230.5. It's now a 232.5, so we'll move towards the over here as well. It's showing once again that the under is getting hit. It's also showing the Lakers are getting hit pretty hard. 95%, I think it's 91% of cash on the Lakers. If this line's the line's not really moved. And this is one game I kind of had circled in this spot. It's the Luka Doncic revenge game. There's no way the Lakers lose in this one, right? Right? There's no way the Lakers lose. I'm interested in Dallas in this game. That would be the only way I look in this spot. And I think I want to move on them here. I'm seeing 9.5s out there. And we have Dallas. They're coming in off of a 24-point loss. Maybe this was a little bit of a look ahead to playing Luka the next game. The Lakers coming in off of a big win, a 23-point win against the Denver Nuggets in their last game. I've got 9.5, -110 over on Bovada. Sign me up for the Dallas Mavericks here in this game. This was a game I kind of had circled a little bit that I wanted to back Dallas in this spot. And everything kind of correlates for me here in this one. No way the Lakers lose on the Luka Doncic revenge game. Sure. Yeah, it's Mavericks +9.5 for me. How about the T-Wolves outright? That was impressive. Yeah. I use Action Network, but most of my money is DK because I've been betting there since. Yeah, no, I use Action Network for cash flow, which it's not letting me log in for whatever reason. You said you use Action Network. Are you logging in just fine? Or is it erroring out for you too? Is one thing I would like to know, whether or not it's just a me thing or it's a Action Network thing. Lakers -9, LeBron 25+ points, Luka 50+ points. JK, imagine. Yeah. There's zero chance I'm looking at the Lakers in that game. And as a matter of fact, I did bet the Mavericks there at 9.5 there. So we'll move on. Final game on the card. Yeah, and this is probably one of the easier let's move on type of games. We have Golden State and Charlotte. Line open up at a 16. It's now a 17. So a 1-point line movement towards Golden State. Line opened up 223.5. It's down to a 220.5. Move towards the under. 79% tickets, 95% of cash is on Golden State, according to one site I'm looking at. So kind of makes sense that the line is moving towards Golden State with that type of cash flow. I mean, this is probably the easiest no thank you for me. Charlotte probably gets blown out in this game. Charlotte, I believe, coming in on a second half of back-to-back, third game in 4 nights and traveling. So just a rough kind of schedule there for Charlotte out of the All-Star break for them. And I believe this is the last game of a road trip for them too. Because, nope, they go to Dallas after this. Wow. Yeah, they played Portland. They got blown out against Portland, blown out against Sacramento, blown out against Denver. They've kind of given up, it feels like. Out of the All-Star break, it's been nothing but double-digit losses for them. And it probably continues here. It looks like the Hornets have just given up. And Golden State started to play better. They're coming off of a 24-point win against Dallas. They beat the Sacramento Kings by 24. They beat the Houston Rockets by 7. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. The only game they lost was against the Dallas Mavericks. They got that revenge, though, after the All-Star break. For me, it's Golden State or no bet. I mean, but do you want to lay 17 points in this game? No, it feels like a smash and grab spot, though, for Golden State in this game. But I'll have my attention a little bit more towards the Mavericks come that time of night. So it looks like I'm going to end the NBA card with 3 plays: Spurs, Rockets, and Mavericks. So, it's just a Texas day for me. It's just a Texas day for me, apparently. Let's see. I'm good on my side. Damn, that's annoying. So it's me then. What's good, Ravon? Georgia Southern moneyline fade app. Cincinnati minus 2.5. Murray State minus 7.5. Western Michigan could upset Ohio. All right. Luka triple double. Yeah, I can see the Mavs covering. Warriors all day. Yeah, that's the only way I would look. I'm out. Go White Sox. Go White Sox. Warriors minus 31. Get it. Yeah. And we'll make the transition, though, to the NHL. Give me 2 seconds. I want to turn on the fan in here. Sorry about that. It's getting hot in here because I run a heater for my Python, so it gets hot in here a little bit sometimes. So there we go. All right, well, move on to the NHL. We have the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Montreal Canadiens in this one here. Carolina minus 210 road favorites, total of 6 in this game. My first thought is, or my cap with the Montreal Canadiens is I don't know if there was a team that probably benefited more from the Four Nations break than into the break. They were on a pretty nasty skid at the end there, heading into the break, and it looked like they just got gassed out. Really, is what it is. And then they come out of the break with a 5-2 win against Ottawa, so they look good there. Even though they lost 3 in a row and 8 of 9 heading into the Four Nations break, which kind of took them out of any type of contention. Yet they're 26-5, so they're still a 500 team. And one thing we have noticed with the Carolina Hurricanes this year is they've struggled away from Raleigh. They're 12-14-3 on the road this year. They're coming off of a 6-3 loss in Toronto after in the first game after the Four Nations. And they went into the Four Nations break losing 4 or 5, or 3 or 4. My bad. They did beat the Utah Hockey Club 7-3 before the break, but they will head home after this. They play Buffalo, Edmonton, Calgary after this, and Carolina is a team I would like to bet against on the road here. I kind of want the Canadiens in this spot. I think this line's a little bit too wide, unless I'm missing something with injuries or something along those lines. And not really. It's Caden Gooley and it's Pezzetta for Montreal. So it's nothing crazy injury wise. I want to take Montreal at a big dog price tag here. For Carolina, William Carrier and Jesper Fast. Nothing crazy there injury wise. So For me, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get my day started here. I have already bet a few games in the NHL, but I'm going to add the Habitons in this one here. I think this is a bet on hockey team out of the break potentially here. And Montreal, I believe, let me take a look at what Montreal has after this. They do have the Sharks and the Sabres twice after this. So it's not like they really have a look-ahead spot. And they have a couple very winnable games. Sharks and the Sabres twice. Those are very winnable games for the Montreal Canadiens if they want to get back in the running here. So I'm going to take a shot with the Habs in this game. It's the Habs and the Habs-Nots. Yeah, Montreal plus 185 here over on Fanatics for me. Yeah, no. Habs regulation, like that even. Yeah, why not go for a score? Yeah, I can definitely see that there. But we will move on to the next one here. Anaheim Ducks and the Buffalo Sabres. It's minus 190 for Buffalo in this game with a total of 6 in the spot. I've moved on this game already. I'm on Buffalo minus 1. Let's get into it here. Buffalo's got a very winnable schedule coming forward here, and I would not be surprised if this Buffalo team does go on a little bit of a run. They came out of the Four Nations break with a bang, an 8-2 win over the New York Rangers. Now, do I usually want to back a team like that after a big win like that? Not particularly. But this is a different situation here for the Buffalo Sabres. I think this is a team that is going to get going a little bit. After this game, they have Carolina, but then they have Montreal twice. Once again, those are winnable games on both sides. If you're Montreal, it's very winnable against Buffalo. If you're Buffalo, they're winnable against Montreal. And on the flip side, we have a pretty bad spot if you're the Anaheim Ducks. It's the third game in 4 nights after they've exited the Four Nations break. They went to overtime against Boston. They went to overtime against Detroit. And now they're playing a third game in 4 nights. I think that's a terrible spot. Also, it's the last game of a road trip for them. They're ready to head home. They play Vancouver at home on the 27th. So last game of a road trip. Sabres, I think, are more bet on than bet against going forward a little bit. Nothing crazy, though. And I think this is a bad spot for the Anaheim Ducks. And I think this line is the way it is for a reason. Type of thing as well. I think situationally, this is an awesome spot for Buffalo to take care of business. I was on Buffalo against the Rangers. I'm right back on Buffalo here today. I am on Buffalo minus 1 at minus 122. I got that over on FanDuel last night. Draw. I don't want the draw. I want the minus 1. Sabres team total over and Tage Thompson goal. Yeah, I can definitely see Tage Thompson continue going here. There. We'll move on, though. The Washington Capitals and the Calgary Flames. The Caps minus 185 favorites, total 6 in this game. The Caps just continue to do it. And it is what it is at this point. They've scored 15 goals in the 2 games after the Four Nations break. You think those guys were nice and rested and ready to go for the games after the break? On the flip side, Calgary is a tricky team. They're coming off of a 3-2 win against the San Jose Sharks, but then they had to travel all the way across the country to Washington. So a bad travel spot here. They had it yesterday, but when you travel from Calgary to Washington, I don't know if there's many spots that are further travel than that other than like Vancouver to Florida. Like Calgary is up there as well in Alberta, and that's a long travel for them. They snapped a 3-game losing streak. This is a team that in Calgary where I think their eyes are open that with the way Vancouver has been struggling a little bit. And I think they probably should be looking at the situation of that last wild card spot is there for the taking. And I very well think Calgary can be a playoff team. The only problem is, I mean, just the way they play on the road compared to the way they play at home. They're 17-10-4 at home, but 10-11-4 on the road. I'm tired of betting against this Capitals team. However, I will do it in the playoffs because I know whoever they play, you're going to get a nice plus 200 price tag to fade them in the playoffs. I'll take a shot with that. But do I need to fade them day in and day out or anything along those lines? No. And I'm tired of this Capitals team. And if I don't need to see them, if I don't need to pay attention to their games, I will not. So this is a simple pass for me. I'm not interested in this one whatsoever. I'll take the -1.5, knowing the Sabres and Ducks won't let me be happy, hence the draw. Fair. Caps puck line. Super pass, but Ovi last-minute goal to make Ovi haters happy. Joking. Yeah, Ovechkin will probably score another empty net goal, but it is what it is. Kadri point. Hello, Nick. I wanted to take the Flames tonight, and how ironic I decided not to. I swear, if the Flames win. Yeah, I know. It won't surprise me. And it's a nice dog price tag if you do want to take them. I won't talk anybody off of the Flames. I think there's value on them, especially. I think the Capitals could be a little bit inflated price wise because of the last 2 wins for them being absolutely dominating blowout wins. Maybe this is a spot where the draw comes in handy with Washington and Calgary to a point where I remember. When the Capitals were struggling and losing a couple games in a row, they were all in overtime. So you can never escape a game with the Capitals with them out without them getting a point for whatever reason. So probably a draw could be an interesting look. Maybe draw Flames, something like that. But no play for me there. Let's get into the next one here. The Dallas Stars taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Stars -175, -180 favorites in this game, total 6. The Stars come in on back-to-back wins against New Jersey and the Islanders on back-to-back games. And now they'll play a third game in 4 days, but travel. Granted, New Jersey to New York to Columbus isn't crazy. But their next game will be back in Dallas against the Kings. So it's the last game of a road trip for them. And it'll be the last game of the homestand for the Columbus Blue Jackets. They came out of the Four Nations break with a 5-1 win against the Chicago Blackhawks. This Columbus team has been a fun little squad, and they continue to win games. And they play well at Nationwide Arena. I believe they're also dealing with injuries though. So is Dallas. As Heiskanen and Sagan continue to be out. Chinnikov is still out for them. So is Monahan. He's expected to be out till mid-March. But they did get Marchenko back, and this is a sneaky team. It would be dog or pass for me in this game, though. That would be the only way I would look at it here. Dallas, a tricky spot last game before last game of a road trip. They have dominated this matchup against Columbus 3 in a row. 8 of the last 10 have gone the way of the Dallas Stars against the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's Columbus or no bet for me if I'm looking to bet this game at all. I think situationally it's a bad spot for Dallas. I just don't know if I want to take a shot there with Columbus. It's just a lean for me at the moment. It'd be Columbus or no bet. I wanted to do that exactly. There you go. Columbus Blue Jackets regulation. Whoa. Okay. Ken Johnson goal and Fantilli goal. Fair. We'll continue on. I've moved on this game here. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins. We have the Maple Leafs are on -150 favorites, total 5.5 in this game. I moved last night on it. I got a good line because it was, I believe, -140 when I bet the -1 line. I did a free pick video for this game last night. I'm on the Toronto Maple Leafs on the -1 line in this game. I got +119 last night. I think it's closer to even money now for those looking to bet it. And for me, I want to fade the Boston Bruins as much as I can heading out of the Four Nations. We were on the Anaheim Ducks in the first game back. I think that we were talking about Montreal being one of the beneficiaries of the Four Nations face-off break. I think the Boston Bruins got hurt the most from it, or one of the most for it. Granted, they weren't playing good heading into the Four Nations break, but when you lose your top defenseman and Charlie McAvoy and a team that already did not have that much depth, I think this is where the Boston Bruins start to slide. And I look for the Maple Leafs to take care of business in this game. They're coming in off of back-to-back wins. They're playing good hockey, the Maple Leafs. And this is a Boston Bruins team that I would like to fade whenever I can going forward a little bit here. So for me, this is Leafs -1 at +119. And maybe it's a lean towards a Boston team total under as well. I do think offensively they're going to struggle a little bit, Boston. They scored 2 goals against Anaheim in their last game. They lost in overtime. But yeah, I'm on the Leafs on the -1 line. I like this spot for Toronto, and I would like to continue to fade Boston out of the break. Boston after this. We'll get the Islanders, the Penguins, and the Wild. So that'd be interesting to see if I fade them against the Penguins, because I don't want the Penguins ever. But it's in Pittsburgh, and I would like to fade the Bruins a little bit more. So that probably is a look for me. And I'll probably be on the Islanders. Actually, the tough part with that game with the Islanders against the Bruins there is if they beat the Rangers tonight, do I want them off of a win against their rival? That's the ultimate question as well. So we'll see. Yeah, Boston Leafs -1 for me in this one. Leafs -1.5. Love it. Over 5.5. Over in the CBJ game. Yep. Austin Matthews assist. Just took it. Look at his shots. He likes assists now. That's fair. We'll move on though, and wow, what a matchup here. This is ugly. Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins in this game. The Flyers are on -135 favorites with a total of 6 in this game. Two teams I really don't like backing. We do have the Flyers off of a 6-3 win. Back-to-back losses for the Pittsburgh Penguins out of the All-Star break against Washington and the Rangers. They lose 8-3 to the Capitals. They followed that up with a 5-3 loss against the Rangers. Philadelphia coming in looking good. They winner against the Edmonton Oilers 6-3. They did play this. They did play the Pittsburgh Penguins the game before their break for them. They won 3-2, even though the Penguins outshot them in that game 33-20. So it looked like the Penguins were a little bit of the better team there against the Flyers in that last game before the break. So a little bit of revenge, if you want to call it that, where maybe the Penguins show up in this game. I don't trust the Penguins for anything right now, though. And I really don't want to lay a number with the Flyers because I think the Flyers are just as bad as the Penguins. So this will be I'm not even going to watch a second of it, and I don't care about this game type of game because these are the two worst teams in the Metropolitan Division. And I guess gun to head, I would take a shot at the Flyers. I just don't like the price, but I do think they get the job done in this game. So it'd be Flyers or no bet for me, and maybe an over. I learned the hard way last game that the Penguins, just even after giving up 8 goals, won't play defense. So it'd be Flyers or no bet here. Flyers no bet. Are we a Canadian today or it's stay off? I'm on Montreal at +185. I'm on Montreal. Flyers puck line. That'd be the only way I can look. Nick, any thoughts for the Astros on Stranger? Did you get to that yet? We're not talking preseason baseball. If you're looking for futures, I took the Astros to win the division. I believe at +175, +170. But I don't. Yeah. Kevin Hayes goal versus old team. Crosby assist. What do you take for Pens Brags? I had first period under 1.5, full game under 6. I lost the first period under with less than a minute left. And then I thought I was looking good heading into the third period. It was 2-1 Rangers, and then it absolutely exploded in the third period, and it was 5-3. So yeah, I thought after giving both those teams gave up 8 goals in their previous game, I thought maybe they show up defensively, and the answer was no. Let's move on. The Edmonton Oilers taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. We have this game at around a pick'em, total 6.5 in this game. I have moved on this game as well. This is the last of the 3 games that I moved on pre-show, where I am on the Edmonton Oilers at -105. Let's get into it. Tampa Bay coming in off of a 4-1 win against the Seattle Kraken in their first game back. They got outshot and outplayed in that game, though, 37-25. Seattle just couldn't bury anything. And on the flip side, we have Edmonton coming in probably pissed off. Back-to-back losses. You lose 6-3 and 7-3. I expect you to show up in your next game if you're for the Oilers here in this spot. I got -105 on them last night over on ESPN Bet with the Oilers. I think this is a good bounce back spot. Now, granted, Tampa Bay's been playing really well as of late, but that also kind of makes me look a little bit deeper at this game. Why is this game a pick'em when the Tampa Bay Lightning are playing as good as they are and the Oilers are struggling? It's telling me the Oilers show up in this game and they get the job done. So I'm on Edmonton in this game on the -105 line, just money line straight up. I think this line's kind of telling a little bit. And I'm usually not like that in the NHL, but I was looking at this spot and I wanted to back the Oilers after back-to-back multi-goal losses. I think this is a good spot for them here. I'm on Edmonton at -105. Oh, yeah. Bolts and regs, F. Because No, I think that just this Oilers team is too good to be giving to losing games like that and not showing any fight. So I don't know. For me, that's I watch hockey sometimes. Cool. Draisaitl over 1.5 points and a goal. Like it. He's been hot lately, and I would definitely look for him to continue that. We'll move on. Islanders, Rangers. Battle of New York, free money lock of the day is New York money line. Just got to figure out which one it's going to be. But we have the Islanders coming in on a 3-game losing streak. They lost their last 2 heading into the 4 Nations break in Winnipeg and in Minnesota. And then very controversial, they lose against Dallas. They were the better team in that game. They had the questionable match penalty, which didn't even – if it was such a bad match penalty, not even a fine for Casey Cizikas. So that was kind of interesting there. And then they had a goal waved off late. So the Islanders should have very well won that game against the Dallas Stars. On the flip side, we have the New York Rangers. They're coming off a win. They got their bounce-back win against Pittsburgh in their last game. They get Toronto on deck on the 28th, and then they get Nashville, and then they play the Islanders again at MSG on March the 3rd. So they do see the Islanders twice within, 8 days or something along those lines. So they do get March. They see the Islanders twice within a week. So there is something there. Maybe you take the winner of this, or maybe you just sit back and watch this one. You take the loser of this game next Monday at MSG. I would not be surprised to see the Rangers go into UBS and get the win, and then the Islanders go into MSG and get the win. So this is a no play for me. A draw could be an interesting look. I lean under as well. I kind of expect Igor to play a little bit better, and Igor versus Sorokin I think could lead to a fun matchup. But I mean, we've seen this before where we think, oh, Igor and Sorokin should equal a under, right? How about 8 of the last 10 games between these two teams have gone over the total? So that kind of interesting there for that. But yeah, no, for me, it's a no play here for me in this game. I'll watch this game for sure, but I have no interest in betting it though. So no action here for me. I want to lean under, but we've seen in previous history that these two teams actually go over against each other. So yeah. I thought of a possible way for this game to fuck me over one way or another. That's fair. Isles money line. Draw and same game parlay, draw and Isles. I could see an Islanders win in overtime. Over 6. Yeah, the past history have definitely done that. Let's go. Let's move on here. Florida Panthers and Nashville Predators. The Florida Panthers, $1.40 road favorites, total of look like 6 in this game. 5.5, 6s, depends on your book. Florida coming in off of a 2-1 loss against the Seattle Kraken. They were slightly the better team, 27-22 shots on goal there. Nashville coming in off of a blowout loss, 5-0 against the New Jersey Devils. So it's just a bounce-back game for the Nashville Predators. I don't trust them in order to do that. I trust the Florida Panthers to bounce back more than I do the Nashville Predators. Because what have we seen from the Florida Panthers when they lose games? They bounce back in the next one. They lose 6-3 to the Capitals on the 4th. They bounce back with a 3-2 win over the Blues in the next game. They lose 4-1 to Vegas. They beat the Kings 3-1. They lose 2-1 to the Kings. They beat the Sharks 7-2. They lose 5-2 to the Red Wings. They beat the Ducks 3-0. They lose to the Flyers. They beat the Devils. I mean, this is a team that has followed up losses with wins consistently this year. Now all of a sudden, though, we're talking a Florida Panthers team that might be without Tkachuk long term, which is going to hurt them. And also Listerine is out for this game, personal reasons. However, I still think the depth of Florida is significantly better. I would only look towards the Panthers in this game on a -1 line, and I think I might actually move on that and expect the Florida Panthers to do what they've been doing all year long. And that's bouncing back after losses. So I'm seeing 145, 170. I want to see what that -1 line would be. +110. I'm going to take the Panthers on the -1 line here at +110 in this game. to bounce back after their last loss against the Kraken and to take care of business here in this one. Florida -1, +110 for me in this game against the Nashville Predators. This game made me feel disgusting to bet on, but Cats and Reg. Yeah, I could see that. Reason is because I don't think it'll be a comfortable game, but when is any game comfortable? True. I mean, even a -400 went to overtime last night, so you never know in the NHL. We'll move on, though. The Detroit Red Wings are taking on the Minnesota Wild. -130 for the Wild, total 5.5 in this game. And we have these two teams. They just faced each other. That's right. And it was a 4-3 win for the Minnesota Wild. It was a comeback win for the Wild. They were down 3-1 in the third period, came back, won in overtime in that game. And on the flip side, Detroit, since then, they did play an overtime game against Anaheim, and they won that game. So they're off of a win, but this is a third game in 4 nights for the Detroit Red Wings. They've been playing some really good hockey as of late, though. I want the Red Wings in this game. They've been playing a lot of overtime, too, is one thing I've noticed. 5 of their last 7 games have needed overtime. 3-2 against Edmonton, 3-2 against Vancouver, 5-4 against Seattle, 4-3 against Minnesota, 5-4 against Anaheim. So they've been playing overs a little bit there. And they've been playing really well, and they've been winning a lot of games in overtime. The only game they lost in overtime was the Minnesota game. And I kind of think this is maybe a get-right spot for Detroit. Just situationally, I don't like the third game in 4 nights. With the first 2 games being overtime games, so that's a lot of hockey in 3 and 4 days. If it wasn't for if they had an extra day off, this is Detroit money line all day long in this game. I just don't know if I can trust Detroit on that type of scheduling situation there. It would be Detroit or no bet, but no play here for me. Lindell Point, Stamkos goal. All right. Wild and Reg. All right. Lead opposite there of you, but I'm not betting it. Over 5.5. Lucas Raymond goal and assists, and DeBrincat goal. Yeah, I'm really tempted on Detroit, and maybe it's Detroit first period. Maybe it's just Detroit first period in this game, and then the Wild take over late. But who knows? 2 games remaining. The Seattle Kraken taking on the St. Louis Blues. The Blues -140 favorites, total of 5.5 in this game. The Blues take care of business against the Colorado Avalanche. That was a very impressive win for them, and they took Winnipeg to overtime as well in the previous game. So they've played 2 games since the Four Nations break, and they've received 3 points in those games against Winnipeg and Colorado. Not a bad start there if you're St. Louis. And I think maybe St. Louis in the second half of the year could be a team to watch out for. On the flip side, Seattle, they outplayed Tampa, but they lost that game. And this is the third game in 4 nights with travel and changing time zones going from Florida, Tampa Bay to St. Louis. I think this is a bad spot for the Kraken. And I would like to back the Blues. I think the Blues are more of a bet-on team in the second half of the year. And this is probably another -1 line for me. 140 plus 180. And it's not a bad one. Plus 117 there for Blues -1. I'm going to move on St. Louis in this game. I think that this is I think the Four Nations was very beneficial for Jordan Binnington. And I think that can help the St. Louis Blues fight for a playoff spot potentially. And maybe I take Vancouver to miss the playoffs, thinking maybe the St. Louis Blues are the team that steals the spot from them. They're currently 5 points behind Vancouver, with Vancouver having a game in hand. I'm kind of curious what the odds are on St. Louis to make the playoffs, because I'm not high on this Vancouver team, and I would like to fade Vancouver a little bit. I believe Vancouver lost last night to Utah, right? Or 2 nights ago to Utah, right? Yes, they did in regulation. I think this Vancouver team's in trouble. And maybe this is a spot where I look for St. Louis to make the playoffs. I might add some futures here with maybe sprinkling half a unit each on, who do you call it to make the playoffs? Blues at 10-1 to make the playoffs. Wow. Plus 180 for the Canucks to miss the playoffs. That was plus 225. Maybe you sprinkle half a unit each on Calgary and St. Louis to take over the spot of Vancouver. Utah is plus 550. I mean, you can sprinkle all three to take Vancouver's spot, and I wouldn't talk you off of any of them. And all of a sudden, Anaheim's in the mix too. I mean, this is a nice little cluster we got going from 8 to 12 in the Western Conference for that last wildcard spot. Why not the Blues at 10-1 to make the playoffs and potentially? I might add that. I'm looking at Blues and Flames, I think, for potential playoff spots. And I mean, if you want to throw Utah in there, I have Utah from preseason, so it's not. So I don't feel the need to bet them preseason there or to add more to them. But having a piece of Blues at 10-1, Flames at 4-1, I think that's a good way at going at Vancouver to miss the playoffs. So kind of interested in that a little bit. Reinhart, 11 goals in 17 games versus the Preds. That's pretty strong. Blues minus 1.5. Love it. Shane Wright point. He's sneaky good. Jaden Schwartz goal versus former team. Fair. Kyrou goal and assists. Buchnevich has 5 assists his last 5 games. Not a bad look. And over 5.5. All right. We move on to the last game, talking about a team that could potentially make the playoffs and pass the Vancouver Canucks. This could be a bad night for the Canucks. If the Calgary Flames somehow beat the Capitals, Utah takes care of business against Chicago, St. Louis gets a win against Seattle, and I mean even Anaheim can get a win tonight. All of a sudden, it becomes a little bit more sweaty there for the Vancouver Canucks, and actually they'd drop out of the playoffs if Calgary gets a win tonight, because Calgary 1 point behind with 1 game in hand. So that's something interesting to keep an eye on. I wish I got Canucks at plus 225 to miss the playoffs, but at plus 180, I probably still want to take a shot there. It's just who takes their spot. I don't know. Minus 255, though, there's no way I'm laying that with the Utah Hockey Club. That's not happening. I promise you that. But do I want anything to do with Chicago? The answer is not really. This is a Chicago team that's doesn't spring any enthusiasm. They've lost both games coming out of the break, 5-1, 5-2 against Toronto and Columbus, so they've struggled out of the break. Utah, they look good in a 2-1 win over the Vancouver Canucks, dominated that game, 32-15 shots on goal, which was a nice little bounce back after the 5-3 win, 5-3 loss over the Kings in their previous game before that. I have nothing in this one here. Minus 255 does not interest me whatsoever. The Blackhawks does not interest me whatsoever, so no interest here for me. And maybe if I do, take some Vancouver to miss the playoffs, I'll be rooting for Utah. Absolutely. But yeah, no play here for me. That should be interesting. Yeah. Dylan Guenther goal. I could see that as well. But that is everything for today's card. If you guys have not already, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel. I see people watching in other locations. If you're currently watching on Twitter, I see 40 people on Winners and Whiners. I see 24 on Tim's page. Come on over to the YouTube channel, Earle Sports Bets. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel, and you can watch it there, and you can chat with us through the YouTube chat. I know the Twitter chat does not allow you to do that. And if you guys are watching on other channels like Picks and Parleys and Winners and Whiners, the YouTube channel, please come over to Earle Sports Bets and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. We'll head back to the chat one more time, and we'll head on out. Keller goal and Buchnevich assists. You can see that. Logan Cooley props. All right. But that is everything for today's card. I want to thank you guys, as always, for watching, and we'll catch you guys same time, same place tomorrow. Another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. Good luck, everyone.